They're going to vote on it at the PTA meeting Friday night. I'll bring the brochure. See you then. Bye.
The Bradley bus just pulled in.
I can set my watch by that man. He takes 40-odd kids 250 miles to Washington for 3 days, and he comes back at precisely 3 o'clock.
Was it wonderful?
It was a complete disaster. The kids were impossible. Misbehaved the entire trip. Had to keep half of them locked in their hotel room.
Did they get any sleep?
Of course not.
Was Ken car sick?
He was bus sick. I saved you a souvenir.
Well, it must have been a workout. You look like you've lost another 5 pounds.
Colitis. It's the best diet on the planet. If I could bottle this stuff.
Tom, how was it?
Oh, another day, another 45 cents.
Have you got a minute?
He just got home and you're putting him back to work?
He just had a 3-day vacation in Washington. I just need a minute.
Well, you can run me over to Sylvan Avenue. I have to meet my brother in 14 minutes.
You can't say 15 like everybody else. Grab your suitcase. I looked over your proposal. I can't show it to the board.
Why not?
It's unrealistic. You're trying to do too much.
Well, I'm only doing what you hired me to do. Bring technology into the classroom.
You can't do it all at once.
If I were doing it all at once, I'd be networking the entire district together.
I want you to start at the elementary level, where you got a reputation. Then work your way up.
You want me to think small?
I want you to think smart. Remember, the district level isn't like the classroom. Things take time.
Write something just one time. Expect it to be perfect. You gotta mess it up a little. The messier it is, the more you're working on it. Take this home and work on it. Make it messy. Let me see it. Go on now. And get it right this time, or I'll sick my brother on you. Ah! You think I was too hard on him? Oh, yeah, you're an ogre. Terrible teacher. You should quit. Go on unemployment. He's the only kid in class who can't write a decent composition. The year's almost over. How's your trip? No major disasters. But Curtis wants me to rewrite my proposal. I told you he would. Anything earth-shaking happen in my absence? The concert tickets came in the mail. Doctor called. And? He wants you to come in. What did he say? I didn't talk to him. He left a message on the machine. I saved it for you.
Tom, this is Dr. Roth. I got the results back from your blood test, and I'd like you to come in and talk about them. I know you're gone until the weekend, but maybe you could come in on Saturday, say, around 11. If Bob's available, I'd like him to come with you. Hope to see you then.
You didn't tell me you wanted to see both of us. We don't have to go to Joanne's tonight. If you don't feel up to it, well, why shouldn't we? I'm not going to worry about anything until I know all the facts. And not a word to the family, either. What time are we supposed to be there?
I'm gonna take those things away.
You sound just like Dad. God forbid I should sound like him. No, if he was here, he'd have him put the gloves on.
Put the gloves on?
Boxing gloves. He used to bring his drinking buddies over and then tell the boys to put the gloves on. They'd have to fight till one of them start crying.
No wonder you guys grew up hating each other.
Remember the fish in the Christmas tree? I remember once Dad got so...
talking about him? dead and gone. Let's forget about it.
What's the matter with you two? You don't hardly say anything all the way through the meal, and then you snap at your sister. What's going on?
I told you I'm tired.
Let me get this one.
What are you so nervous about?
I'm not.
You only eat like that when you're nervous.
I eat like this when I like the cake.
I wish Tom would eat like that. He's lost more weight. Is he taking his medication?
Oh, come on, Pat. Mr. Compulsive. You want to, join me for some fresh air?
You're on.
I'm only telling you because Mom lives here. And I want you to be ready in case it's bad news.
What's the worst it could be?
You know as well as I do. But I'm okay. I can adjust to anything. It's Bob.
How is he?
Mr. Emotional.
What about Pat?
No, she doesn't know. God forbid she's worse than he is. I hate all this secrecy, but it's what Tom wants. If it was up to him, the family wouldn't even know he's got the virus.
Maybe it's not as bad as you think.
Oh, he's got no appetite. He's losing weight. He's got a fever he can't shake.
Maybe the doctor wants to give him a new medicine.
There is no other medicine. Once this stops working, that's it. Why else would he want me to come in with him?
There's always a miracle, Bob. Remember that. There is always a miracle.
Your T cell count has dropped down into the double digits. The AZT is no longer working. But that doesn't mean that there's no hope.
I know what it means. I've lost too many friends.
You may have an opportunity that your friends didn't have. That's why I asked Bob to come in with you. There's an oncologist down at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore who specializes in bone marrow transplants, primarily for cancer patients. Now, your immune system resides in your bone marrow. He recently performed a transplant on a cancer patient who also happened to be HIV positive. After the surgery, the patient was completely free of the HIV virus. And when they performed the autopsy, they discovered, well, the cancer was too advanced to stop, but the operation itself was successful.
He was cured?
He would have been.
Then why isn't every HIV patient in the country running to this man?
Because not every HIV patient has someone who can donate bone marrow with no possibility of rejection. A genetically identical twin.
You're gonna get a headache doing that. I want to get this back to Curtis as quickly as I can. If things don't work out at Johns Hopkins, I'm only gonna have about 2 years to get this program off the ground. If things don't work out at Johns Hopkins, you should quit work. Do what you want. This is what I want. If they ran out of money tomorrow, I would do it for free. I'm not hungry.
Before we talk about your eligibility for the program, I'd like you to consider the risks the procedure entails. The rewards, if we're successful, could be extraordinary. But this is a long and torturous process with no guarantee of success. Now, the first thing we do is completely destroy your immune system. We'd use massive doses of chemotherapy and full-body radiation. Both are highly toxic, and the side effects are horrendous. They include vomiting, diarrhea, mouth sores, hair loss, and the possibility of damage to vital organs. Once your immune system is destroyed, we'd inject your brother's bone marrow into your blood. Approximately a month later, it should begin taking residence in your system. Now, you'd live in protective isolation, essentially a sterilized cocoon. Nonetheless, you'd come down with all sorts of infections, rare funguses, bacterial growth. At times, your mind would be deranged by fever. Now, we'd provide antibiotic therapy, but there's no guarantee that you'd ever fully recover, or is there a guarantee that you'd survive? Not everyone does.
What about risks for Bob?
Oh, we've done over 1,500 transplants, and we've never had a serious problem with the donor.
That's the last of my worries. We're talking about a cure for AIDS.
No, we can't guarantee that, and technically, we're not dealing with AIDS. If you had full-blown AIDS, you wouldn't be eligible for the program. See, that would mean an opportunistic infection had begun to invade your body. Now, if that were the case, when we destroyed your immune system, the infection would run rampant and kill you.
But I'll get a new immune system.
Correct.
Without HIV.
That's what we hope.
Dr. Roth said that you had a patient whose autopsy showed that he was cured.
But the virus still has the potential to float around in the system for some time after the transplant. Now, to help protect against that, we'd also put you on AZT therapy.
I was just taken off AZT.
With the new immune system, you could go right back on it.
At the moment, my immune system is so compromised, I could contract an infection any day now.
Which is why, if you decide to do this, there's no time to lose.
How soon could you start?
The next opening I have isn't until next month. But we could begin preliminary testing, get the paperwork rolling with the insurance company immediately.
You'll be famous. You'll be the first person in history to be cured. I'll be infamous if anyone finds out. Be interviewed on TV behind one of those screens like they do with mafia bosses. And black tape over my eyes. Yeah, my name is Arvid Olsen, and I got the cure from the HIV. Oh, Mom would recognize that in an instant. We're not keeping this from Mom. Of course we are. You said we were going to wait until after we saw the doctor. Now we've seen him, we know what's going on. But we don't know if it's going to work. Maybe we can't tell people out of the school district, but we've got a right to be honest with our own family. What about her right not to know? No, when it comes to life and death, there is no such right. Besides, I'm not willing to live a lie inside the family. Not anymore. As long as we keep it in the family, she'll be fine. That's what she's scared of.
How soon can you go down?
Next month, April 12th. We'll be back in time for the fall term in September. In time for our birthday.
What will you tell people?
We'll tell them we're in the hospital. They can't find out why. Medical records are confidential.
Look what happened to Ryan White. Or that teacher up on Cape Sable Island. Why,
We're lying about it for 8 years, Ma. We're not going to stop now.
It belongs in the family.
When I come back, we won't ever have to lie about it again. I'll be cured. There'll be nothing to hide, and nobody will ever have to know. We should go. I told Pat we'd drop by.
There's enough room for 2 rows of tables, 40 computers. I've got the electricians coming in to rewire the place first thing next week. Now back here, there is a cubicle, your office. I've ordered you a desk, a phone, and a whip. Well, I know it may not be the Starship Enterprise you envision, but it's a good start. And once you show the board what you can do...
No, it's fine.
Are you with me here? You feeling okay?
No, actually, I'm not. I don't know how to say this. I've had an emergency come up.
What kind of an emergency?
I'm going into the hospital. I won't be back till fall.
Fall? What for? What are you talking about? Tom, we've been friends a long time. What's going on?
No running in the hallways. Hi. Look behind. Am I interrupting something?
Go ahead.
Tom has cancer.
Lymphoma. They're planning a going-away party for me. The teachers? The parents. It's embarrassing, isn't it? The nicer they are, the worse I feel. Have you ever wondered if maybe we're wrong about them? That's probably what that teacher up on Cape Sable Island wondered before the sky fell in. I know there's some people we can trust. I'm sure there's lots. But what are we going to do? Tell them the truth and ask them to lie? No, we can't do that. We're stuck. This is the way it has to be.
Insurance companies drag their feet all the time.
The hospital's been after them for over a month.
Now, they said they were going to pay for it. Stop worrying.
A man without patience is a man without wisdom.
That makes me a dunce.
Another stack of fan mail for Bayport's golden boy.
Bagels and lox. For us?
It's about time.
Oh, you're not bringing all this with you, are you? Well, at least I'm packing.
I'm packing.
Next week's gonna roll around, you won't even have opened up a suitcase. Can't believe how fast news travels out there. I'm getting cards from people I haven't heard from in 15 years. Yeah, so many people have asked me how serious it is. I've lost track of how many lies I have to confess to.
Yeah. And if they ever found out, they'd be boiling up a vat of tar and ripping open their pillows.
Wrong, Peter. They'd be boiling up 2 vats of tar and ripping up twice as many pillows. Now, I know how heartbroken each of you will be to say that word when the bell rings today, but you'll be happy to know that I've asked the school board to send over on Monday morning the most ill-tempered, whip-cracking substitute they can find, so that when you think back over the time you spent with me... Dolores, will you monitor for me for a moment?
The hospital called. The insurance company pulled the plug. They're declaring the procedure experimental. They aren't going to pay for it. They said they would pay. They never said it in writing. They can't go back on their word. My God, it's Friday afternoon. We're supposed to be there on Monday. The hospital's getting ready to put someone else in my place.
They can't do this.
What am I going to do? This is my only hope.
This is insanity. They have to pay for it. They aren't going to pay for it. I'll pay for it myself.
With what? Where are you going to get $150,000?
I'll steal it if I have to. I'll do whatever it takes. You've got to...
The reason the ACLU sent you to us is because we've been trying to find a case that tests this very issue. Who gets to decide on a course of treatment, the doctor or the insurance company?
Well, that's exactly what this case is all about.
But I'm not convinced yet that this is the right case for us. We're a public interest law firm. We look for cases that set precedent, so we need very clear-cut situations.
This was recommended by one of the world's leading specialists, one of the most renowned
I'm
hospitals.
not questioning the procedure. I'm questioning whether or not this situation presents the issue clearly. And the only way for me to determine that is by getting the opinion of an attorney that specializes in insurance law.
We need help. We don't have the resources to fight one of the largest insurance companies in the country.
It's another problem. Our services are gratis, but in order to take this on, we need to engage an insurance specialist, as I mentioned before, to help us to take this to trial. That would cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $30,000. Assuming we take the case.
This isn't right. I paid my premiums for 20 years. When I was president of the teachers union, I told them to buy this insurance because I thought it was the best. Now, when my life is at stake, they turn their back on me.
I wish I could help. But unless you have access to that kind of money, there's no point in even getting an expert opinion.
I add up the stereo, the furniture, everything we own except the condo, assuming we could sell it all. I come up with less than $15,000. Why don't we talk to Pat and Joanne? And what are they going to do? Take out a second mortgage on their houses for a case that I might not win? Over an operation that might not even work? What about our IRAs? It's our life savings. Yeah, but if we cash them both in, if I don't survive, you'll be retiring on the streets. I've got friends. Let's at least call Morley. Tell him we've got access to the money. He'll bring in the specialist. We'll get an expert opinion. If he says that the case is at all shaky, we're dropping it. It's not worth it. But if he says we're solid, we'll cash in the IRAs.
After reviewing your records and speaking at length with your doctor, I believe we can make an argument for coverage. Our biggest difficulty is that your insurance company has enormous resources to make their case. This could be tied up in the legal system forever.
The one thing I don't have is time.
We do have one option which might pressure them into settling quickly, if you're prepared to use it.
You don't have any choice. Of course I have a choice, and I'm not doing it. You'll pay a much bigger price if you don't. I'm not worried about the price I pay. I'm worried about you. You stop worrying about me. You've done it all my life. There's something you don't understand. As the one with HIV, I'll have certain civil rights. But discrimination against you is a whole other story. It'll happen around dinner tables, the grocery store, the beauty shop, people whispering about you, crossing the street to avoid you. Did you know he lives with his brother? Oh, yes, and he's never been married. Guilt by association. What is it? There's never been a time in all my life that you haven't been there for me. What are you talking about? I didn't speak to you for 2 years. But deep down, I always knew, at least I always believed, that you would be there if I needed you. Was I right? Probably. That was why I was able to come out. I could live my life the way God meant me to live it because I never felt alone. I knew that you would be there. And this is my chance to be there for you. Let me have it. It isn't just you. The family, the school district, everyone's gonna suffer if I go ahead with this. Worry about you for a change. Stop being a martyr for everybody else. I am worried about me. But we protected this secret for 8 years, not just for ourselves, but for the family. There's a reason for that. There's no reason why we shouldn't do everything we can to save your life. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. If there were, I would do it in a heartbeat. But think of the odds. They're stacked so far against me, it's ridiculous. You haven't lost till you've lost. You've always said that. And this is your shot. Let's at least talk to the family about it.
It's indecent. It's criminal. You ought to sue the pants off them. You ought to take them for every nickel they've got. You paid your premiums your whole life.
It's going to be in the papers. The lawyers said that publicity is the only weapon we have to pressure them into settling quickly. Insurance companies don't care about lawsuits, but they hate publicity. If we move this along, the hospital can take us on July 16th. No one's going to come near you, Ma.
What about you?
I'm not worried about me. If anything, I'm worried about Bob. Forget about me.
Nothing can happen to any of us that'll be as bad as what'll happen to you if you don't have that operation.
He doesn't have any choice, Mother.
Of course I have a choice. I haven't made it yet. You don't have a choice. Ma, tell him he doesn't have any choice. It's not up to her. It's up to me.
Let her speak for herself.
She doesn't have to speak. She doesn't have to say anything.
You have to do it.
You know what makes this so much worse? The way she brags about us to her friends. Shows them pictures, talks about all the wonderful things we do out in Bayport.
She's proud of who she wants us to be, not who we are. But our mission in life is not to make her proud.
It's not to cause her pain either. She's had enough of that, and she's suffered a lot of it for us.
Or do we have to spend the rest of our lives paying her back? Didn't we try? Didn't we do our best?
Yes, we tried.
Can you move a little closer together so I can get the courthouse in the background?
In school, we got the same grades, missed the same questions on tests. That's right. Teachers always thought we were cheating. We both majored in history at Hunter College. Bob graduated magna cum laude. Tom graduated summa cum laude, 3/10 of a point ahead. Well, I had a head start. I was born 15 minutes earlier. And he still hasn't learned to respect his older brother. Firstborn, last conceived. So in fact, I'm the older brother. We're mirror images. He has a bad left eye. I have a bad right eye. In fact, we even have identical kidney stones. We've always said that if we ever need anything, we're each other's bag of spare parts.
Have you always lived together?
No, not always. We were in the seminary together, but Bob left before I did, took off on his own. That was when I came out. In the village, anyway. And we didn't speak for 2 years.
Really?
It was hard for me to accept.
In Bob or...
In both of us.
But you accept it now.
Yes.
And you both teach out on Long Island.
In Bayport.
But that's a fairly conservative community. What do you think their reaction will be to this story when it comes out?
To be honest, I'm hoping they won't see it.
I think you both are very courageous for doing this.
It has nothing to do with courage. It was fear that kept us in the closet, and it's fear that's driving us out. I don't want to die. We talked too much. That was the idea. Didn't have to get so personal. That's what she wanted to hear. Didn't have to tell her everything. We didn't. Hi, fellas.
Mr. Bradley, when are you going to the hospital?
Very soon. Maybe this week.
I'm making some pictures to send you so you can decorate your room. My mom said she mailed them.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. I hope you kids have a great summer. I thought it only fair to warn you.
Which paper?
The Daily News. I'm sorry. The district is going to take a lot of flack over this.
You're sorry? You don't owe me or anybody else an apology.
Well, let's see if you say that tomorrow morning.
No matter what happens tomorrow morning, I want you to know something. I'm your friend and colleague in that order. Maybe the insurance company turned its back on you, but this school district won't. I'll do everything in my power to protect your rights.
What about Bob's rights?
Well, I'm sure you'll both get the support of the teachers.
It's not the teachers I'm worried about, it's the parents. I've carried this virus into the classroom for 8 years. Bob and I lived together.
But neither one of you would ever do anything to jeopardize the safety of your students.
Try telling that to the parents. I will. If history is any guide, this community is going to be like a war zone. And you're going to be right in the middle of it.
You worry about yourself. I'll worry about Bayport.
Maybe it's so small nobody's gonna see it.
Well, maybe it's not even here. Might as well be a billboard on the Montauk Highway.
Hello. Well, yeah, I'm only about 2 hours behind schedule. Ow. No, I haven't had a chance to sit down yet. Page 9. Michael, open the paper to page 9. Yeah, Michael's class is having an end-of-year party today. I promised to bring 3 dozen cupcakes. I haven't even begun to... Oh, my God.
Yvonne, you read the news?
Yeah, I've already seen it. Jake, it's me. Have you seen this morning's paper?
8 years. I can't believe it.
Father.
Hey, good morning, Terry.
Hi, I'm sorry to bother you.
It's no bother. What's the problem?
Father, do you know who Tom Bradley is?
Is he with the school district?
Yeah, he's been teaching 5th grade here for the past 15 years. He's got AIDS.
Let's go for a walk. I want to call Pat. Oh, I'm going out. Hurry up, I'll wait for you.
The reason I called you together is because you're their closest friends.
I just can't believe this is happening. Not to Tom. Anybody but Tom.
The article said that he had it for 8 years.
He said he had Crohn's disease.
He told me it was colitis.
Then cancer. I knew he was gay, but
How did you know that?
we took a trip once, and he told me. When I saw him start to go downhill, I wondered. In the back of my mind, I wondered.
I finally understand why he has this urgency about everything. He doesn't have the next 20 years.
Can't believe he didn't tell us.
He was scared.
Who can blame him? Look what happened to Ryan White.
It's not going to happen to Tom. Right now, the most important thing for us to do is to protect his privacy and Bob's. Parents are going to be all over you with questions. Don't talk to them. Don't get defensive. Direct everything back to this office.
You'll be flooded.
We're adding 4 more phone lines. We're pulling in extra staff to help field the calls. I'm hoping to put out the major fires before the media gets here.
It's too late for that. They set up a truck on the Commons. There's another one in the parking lot.
Already?
The argument that the combination of treatments is experimental breaks down when you look at the two individual components. Taken separately, they've each been proven to be effective. What?
Channel 10 just picked up the story, and they've already sent a crew out to Bayport.
Yes.
And the New York Times is on line 3. They want to know if they can interview the twins.
If publicity is our weapon, we're about to fire off a nuclear warhead. Yes, this is Nathan Morley.
I wish she hadn't used the word AIDS. Why couldn't she say HIV?
HIV isn't inflammatory.
That's the point.
I think that's the point of why she used it.
I don't think it's going to matter much. People don't know the difference.
At least you got the part about your eyes right.
Oh.
Twinkly sky blue eyes.
Couldn't believe that. Hello? Yes? Yes? Right, I will. Turn on the television. Channel 10. It's the kids.
Many of them former students of Mr. Bradley took to the streets gathering signatures on a petition demanding that his insurance company pay for his bone marrow transplant. They are in parking lots, shopping malls, going door to door in a campaign that was begun this morning by a mother who felt something had to be done.
I don't know Mr. Bradley personally, but I know his reputation. And so when I read the article in the newspaper and saw that he had a chance for a cure, I went to see my priest and asked him to help me draft a petition. And then I just started making some calls, and the kids just took over.
How he got it isn't the point. He did more for my kid than any other teacher she's ever had. That's my name, right there.
Grandma, they're talking about Uncle Tom on TV.
This community in a very special way. And that's what people are responding to, not the disease or his private life or anything else. They're responding to the man.
The people of Bayport, and especially the children of Bayport, are sending a very clear message to the insurance company. They want Mr. Bradley back.
I feel like I've already won. And the war hasn't even started. On national television. How can we not tell her?
Come on, it's like there's a big hippopotamus in the room and she's pretending it's not
The
there.
whole world is going to know about this.
Prime time, 2020 hard copy. The lawyers must be ecstatic.
Oh, they think we're naturals for this. They call us the Tom and Bob Show. You can see this interview.
Hi.
Ma.
Hi. I saw your car. Whew. Could cook an egg out there.
I turned the air conditioner on in your room.
Oh, good.
How is work?
Oh, same old, same old. Kids do their homework?
They're doing it in the den.
You two staying for dinner?
No, we just stopped by because I wanted to tell you something. Could we just go upstairs for a minute? Going to court in a few days. just want to tell you that I don't expect you to be there. I mean, I don't even know if you were planning to go, but I mean, with all the press and everything. I just didn't have the calling, Mom. I went in for all the wrong reasons.
No. Went in to escape your father.
I also went in to please you.
He didn't want you to go. He was mad as a hornet. He didn't think you were smart enough to get into seminary. You showed him.
Do you remember what he said when we left? He called us quitters.
You're no quitter, Tommy. Had these shoes resold last month. The heel's worn through. They must make them out of cardboard, huh? Well, I guess I better go back down and make supper.
It's her way of protecting herself. So why let it bother you? You haven't done anything wrong. I know that. No, you don't. Why is everything so much easier for you? Leaving the seminary, coming out of the closet, dealing with Mom. Because I don't question everything. I don't need to figure it all out. I just do what feels right, whether it makes sense or not. You can't make sense out of people's emotions. Certainly not Mom's. I think I can. She doesn't accept who we are any more than you accept who she is. And you don't have any feelings about that? No, I accept it. Thank you, Mr. Spock.
This is just the beginning, guys. We've been getting calls from Larry King, Barbara Walters.
About from the insurance company.
Yeah, we won't hear from them till we go to court next week.
The hospital said they could take us by the end of the month if everything worked.
Bob, we won't have an answer by the end of the month.
You said we were going to court next week.
Yes, but all we'll find out next week is whether or not the case merits a hearing. If the judge decides in our favor, it'll be at least another month before...
A month?
The way the dockets are running, it could be even more.
I may not have another month. I'm running a temperature almost daily. My glands are beginning to swell. If I contract an infection...
The best thing we can do is to ask the judge for an expedited hearing. And we will do that, Tom. We'll do everything that we can. But remember, even if we win at the hearing, we're still facing the possibility of an appeal.
Yeah, I know. So go ahead and cancel.
Hi, I'm Dory Glynn.
Sorry, this is Tom Bradley.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
This is my brother, Bob Bradley. How are you?
How do you do? I'm happy to meet both of you. Why don't you come over here and we'll get started?
Coffee, sir?
Thanks.
Everyone knows about the reaction from the community out on Long Island, so what I'd like to talk about is your family. Do you have other siblings?
Yes, 2 sisters, one older, one younger.
And how have they been through all this?
Incredibly supportive.
And your parents?
Our father passed away several years ago, so he's not in the picture. My mother... This whole thing has been very hard on my mother. She's been supportive beyond measure. But could you turn that off just for a moment? I'd rather we don't mention her.
You said she's supportive.
I don't want anybody talking to her or bothering her in any way.
Can you tell me her name?
No. Either we leave her out of it or we can't continue with the interview.
All right. Then let me ask you this. Have you considered the possibility that all this publicity that you're getting might work against you?
We can't wait for the courts. If something isn't done fast, this man is going to lose his life. So we are starting a fundraiser to pay for the operation ourselves. Key Bank has volunteered to manage our account free of charge. And today I'm asking you to show your support by taking the ribbons that the kids are going to start handing out. Go ahead, kids. Tie them to your car antennas, your trees, fences, doorknobs, anywhere you can, as a way of saying that our slogan is not just words on a t-shirt. That this community truly is committed to the core.
There are now 3 school districts involved in the effort to help the popular school teacher. And as the campaign continues to grow out here in Bayport, Tom Bradley is preparing to go to court.
I wonder if that reporter was right. About what? About the publicity maybe working against us. Why should it? If I were the judge, I'd bend over backwards not to let it pressure me. Might even lean the other way. The point isn't to pressure the judge, it's to pressure the insurance company. Well, it certainly hasn't done that.
What are you hoping to accomplish for the twins?
Well, all we're doing is asking the judge to grant an injunction, which would prevent the insurance company from refusing to pay for a combination of treatments that we've...
Are you hoping to set a precedent for other patients with HIV or AIDS?
No, I'm not here to set a precedent. I'm here because it's my life. That's all I care about.
Mr. Bradley, are you hoping your bone marrow will provide a cure for your brother?
No, the doctors are not promising a cure. They're saying that this will significantly extend my brother's life. He's here.
Why is the insurance company refusing to pay for Mr. Bradley's treatment?
Well, this combination of treatments is experimental and therefore not covered by the policy. If we start paying for every experimental treatment for HIV that comes along, premiums are going to escalate to a point where people won't be able to afford health insurance.
I know, I can't.
We have an obligation to protect the resources entrusted to us by
Oh, that's good.
Dear Lord, we gather here today and ask for your blessing on these proceedings and your humble servants, Tom, today and always. In Christ's name we ask you. Father, Son,
Amen. Supporters arrived by car, bus, and train to fill the courtroom and lend moral support to the teacher with AIDS. Tom Bradley broke down as he thanked his supporters for standing by him during these difficult days. He described the unexpected groundswell of compassion from his school district as overwhelming. With respect to his fight against the insurance company, Mr. Bradley put it simply when he said, "They're fighting for money. I'm fighting for my life."
The bone marrow transplant, recommended by Dr. Hill, is a long-established and well-recognized therapy for immunological disorders. And because Mr. Bradley's donor is his genetically identical twin, he is an ideal candidate for the procedure. But there is a serious time consideration involved. In the opinion of his doctors, Mr. Bradley is terminally ill. He is at grave risk of developing an opportunistic infection. And if that happens, he will be ineligible for the procedure.
This is one of those cases where the pull at the heart and the sympathy is great. We wish nothing but a long life for Mr. Bradley. We think the advocacy of his attorneys is exactly what it should be. We applaud the efforts of Dr. Hill on his behalf. But the evidence shows by a wide margin that this procedure is experimental. And we cannot say, because we sympathize with Mr. Bradley, that we should be forced to pay for something that is not covered by the contract.
Well, the question is whether or not the procedure will benefit Mr. Bradley. And it seems to me that we're going to have a hearing in order to make that determination. Now, the dockets are full, but because of the urgency of this matter, I was thinking less in terms of 6 weeks and more in terms of 6 hours. Would that be possible?
Today? We need our expert witness, Dr. Hill. I'm not sure I can reach him that quickly.
Well, why don't you go out in the hallway and call him from a payphone and report back to the bench? Court is recessed for 15 minutes.
Dr. Hill, does Mr. Bradley fit within your criteria for this therapy?
Yes, although he'll need to be reevaluated when he comes to the hospital as an inpatient.
Can you tell me whether or not bone marrow transplants at Johns Hopkins are routinely reimbursed by insurance companies?
Yes, they are.
And do you feel in this case the bone marrow will successfully engraft?
I have a 99% certainty that it will.
Isn't it correct that no other HIV patient anywhere has been given this procedure?
Not in this combination.
So it is, in fact, then, experimental?
Objection. He's calling for a legal conclusion.
Overruled. You may answer.
I believe this procedure will reconstitute his immune system. With respect to the HIV, I don't have the answer.
So the purpose of this study is to find out whether it works or not.
The purpose of the transplant is to treat the immune dysfunction, not the HIV. Now, I have no idea what will happen to the virus, which is why we're adding AZT therapy. May I add something, Your Honor?
Go right ahead.
I'm part of a generation of doctors that came up with the AIDS epidemic. I've seen it on the battle lines as an intern resident taking care of these patients. I've seen them suffer, and I've seen them die. And I've stood by helpless. This case is different. In this case, there's a reasonable medical certainty that what I'm recommending will prolong and possibly save Mr. Bradley's life.
I'll hear closing arguments right after lunch.
We all feel a great deal of compassion for Mr. Bradley. In fact, we may all want to contribute to the fundraising effort on his behalf personally. But that does not mean we have a legal obligation to do so. Your Honor, as important and vital and glorious as an individual is, there are millions of other Mr. Bradleys out there. And if the court grants this motion, it will be opening the proverbial floodgates to litigation and a vast restructuring of the insurance system. As our medical witness testified, this combination of therapies has never been used before. It is definitely experimental. We therefore ask the court to deny plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction.
Your Honor, Mr. Bradley is not asking his insurance company to fund some mad scientist, off in his laboratory with bubbling beakers and lightning flashing all around. He's asking for medical treatment, the individual components of which are non-experimental. Putting them all together makes logical sense and is likewise non-experimental. What the court will be saying, if it grants this injunction, is that persons with AIDS or HIV infection will not be deprived of the best medical treatment available simply because they have HIV. We therefore respectfully request that the court grant this injunction.
I will have a written decision for you within a day or two. That isn't to suggest that I have not come to a decision. I have. And because of the urgency of Mr. Bradley's situation, I'm going to give it to you verbally right now. I'm going to grant the motion. please, don't do that. The insurance company is concerned about opening the floodgates. My concern is not that they will be opened, but that they will remain closed. I'll have a written decision for you in a few days. Thank you.
If I could have kissed the judge, I would have. But his ruling is only a part of the good news that we received today. Johns Hopkins told us this morning that if we win in court, they will not allow an appeal from the insurance company to hold us up any longer. They'll have a bed waiting for me Monday morning, and I'm going to come home cured.
As you can see, Mr. Bradley's victory is being shared by everyone who rallied behind him today in court. Next week, he will travel to Johns Hopkins, where he expects to be cured.
Right about there. Stop. Try it now.
As the community out here in Bayport prepares to celebrate Tom Bradley Day.
Now, we're going ahead with this because the insurance isn't going to cover everything. I mean, they're going to have legal fees to pay, travel expenses to Baltimore, living expenses, medication.
How do you account for this outpouring of support for a teacher with AIDS? Didn't anyone come out against him?
I expect this easily could have gone the other way. But what happened here in Bayport is the forces of good acted so quickly that the forces of evil never had a chance.
Forces fighting for Tom Bradley
Never said nobody appreciates good teachers, huh? Look at them out there.
Oh, you should have seen him at the courthouse. The affection, the love from all those people.
Why did it have to come from them? You should have seen them. They showed their love. They touched each other. They hugged.
What are you talking about?
You weren't there. You didn't see.
Well, because Tom didn't want me there.
Do you know why?
Of course she knows why.
The publicity.
He was afraid if he asked you to be there, you would have said no.
That's not true. I didn't want you there for the same reason I don't want you there tomorrow. The press would be all over her. You're not listening. She's saying we never touch each other.
We're afraid to even talk to each other.
Well, we're talking now.
We're not talking.
Please, let's not do this.
We never talk. Tom has been sick for 8 years. For the first 4, he didn't even tell us. And then when he did, that was the end of it. We have never, ever talked about it.
We don't have to hear this, Mom. Come on.
She doesn't need your protection.
Come on, Mom.
I can walk.
Why did you do that?
Why did you?
Because she never talks to us. She never touches us. You don't understand. You're just like her. Who am I to talk? I'm the same way.
I didn't tell her not to come because I was afraid she'd say no. I was afraid she'd say yes. Do you know what it would mean to her to have to face this in public?
Face what? That you have HIV? She may be in denial, but she isn't brain dead.
To face the fact that Bob and I represent everything the church condemns. The church is her survival. How do you think she got through all those years with Dad? How do you think any of us did? We went to church. We prayed. God was on our side. And so Bob and I grow up. Look who we are. How can she love us in the fullness of our creation without rejecting God? How can she love God without rejecting us? And why force her to choose? It doesn't have to be a choice. It does for her.
Does it for you?
I'm talking about Mom. And if she ever had to make that choice,
It would tear apart the very fabric of her
What
being.
about you?
She's 73 years old. You're asking me to strip away her armor, to force her to confront something that she isn't ready for, that she might not ever be ready for. I can't do that.
God, you're just like her. You won't listen.
I'm not asking you to force her to do anything. I'm asking you to stop protecting her. Let her make the choice. If you tell her not to go, you're stripping away her dignity. You're stripping away her right to choose.
She has a choice.
Not if you make it for her. At least tell her she's welcome tomorrow. Tell her she's invited. You don't have to ask her to come, but show her the respect of someone who's capable of making a choice.
I can't do that.
Why?
Because she would say yes. And I can't have that on my conscience.
Why can't you listen?
Why can't you?
Why should I? Because I'm the one who's dying.
Oh, God.
You're right. I don't want to face the hard questions any more than she does. But when I do, when I ask myself if I've done anything wrong or done anything I should be ashamed of, I know in my heart that I haven't. You know how I know? It's not that I've figured it all out. I know because when I think about dying, I'm not afraid to die. No, that's not true. Dying scares me, the process. But once it's over, I know where I'm going. It's just a terrible agony to think that Mom doesn't.
How could you think I don't love him? How could you think I don't love all my children? Those people in Bayport, that's a different kind of love. They wouldn't give their lives for him. I would. Would you do that?
Why don't you tell him? Why don't you touch him? Why don't you hug him? Why don't you touch any of us?
I hug your children.
But why not us?
We're not a huggy kind of family, Joanne.
But why?
Some families just aren't.
Remember when he first told us he had HIV? You remember what you said? Nothing. You just sat there at the table and I kept screaming in my head, say something, Ma, say something. Didn't you have anything to say?
I just kept thinking, why? That's all I could think. You raise your children a certain way, and then sometimes they grow up and choose a different way. It's hard to accept. That doesn't mean I don't love them.
That's all I wanted to say to him. And I love him. No matter what.
He needs that from you. He's looking for your love more than anything in the world. That's what he wants. You don't have to go out in public to say it. Just say it. I love you, Mom.
I don't want to lose him. I just don't want to lose him.
Everybody get the t-shirts up here. Tom Bradley t-shirts. What size you need? What size you need? Large?
Excuse me. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
My goal now is to finish developing the computer program. I plan to write the curriculum from the hospital.
From the hospital?
No, why not? I'm going to be down there for 6 months. What else am I going to do? Learn Chinese?
I'll start by gaining some weight back. Eat Chinese.
Tom! Hi. This is amazing.
Hi. You must have half the Long Island out here. Isn't this exciting?
I want you all to meet my sisters, Pat and Joanne, and their husbands, Nuncy and Ron, and these two monkeys we call our niece and nephew.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I was asked to come up here and speak on behalf of the community of Bayport. I don't know why anyone needs to speak on behalf of this community, because with this event, it's speaking for itself. And what it's saying is bigger and better and louder than anything I can shout out to you. What this community is saying is simple. What we're saying is thank you to Tom Bradley. It isn't often that you get an opportunity to pay a man like Tom Bradley back. Many of the parents here today were students in Tom's class. And many of our children will be students of Tom's computer program for many years to come. So today we honor and thank Tom not only for what he's given us in the past, but for what we all have to look forward to in the future. Would you join me, please, in welcoming to the stage the man that we're honoring here today, Mr. Thomas J. Bradley!
I love you.
When I woke up this morning, I offered a prayer to thank God for my family, for my mom, who has had to endure who has had to endure more than any mom should have to endure. For my sisters, who would, if they could, take this from me. And for this community. If it weren't for you, all of you, incredible people, I truly don't believe that I would have the opportunity that I'm going to have Monday morning to fight a disease that nobody thought that I could fight. The insurance company stalled me for 4 months, but in the end, it was this community that won the victory.
Keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. In good times and bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. In good times and bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for.
Go ahead, just open it. You're not going to save the ribbon.
It'll be at least a month before your brother's able to move into the dorm, but we put you in a double room now so you won't have to move later.
When can I see him?
Oh, not till the morning. They'll be running tests on him all through the day. Then tomorrow they put you in the hot seat. We serve dinner on the 3rd floor between 6 and 8 and breakfast at 7.
Right in the middle of dinner? A joke.
Oh, yeah. That saves us a lot of time in the morning.
Right.
Listen, if you need anything, dial extension 364.
Thank you. Thank you, God. I guess now that he's got his money, he's out putting a down payment on a new car.
He's probably downstairs checking your test results.
Oh, sure he is. Ferrari or Maserati? No, he's a Volvo type. Or maybe a Saab. How about you? You getting a new car out of this deal?
I'm just thankful to have a patient with a sense of humor.
Now, you won't be saying that in another month. His humor is sicker than he is.
Hopefully, we won't cure it. He should be here in a moment. If you need anything, just press the red button.
How about an intravenous Belgian waffle with whipped cream and strawberries?
You got it.
You're gonna drive the staff crazy. Well, it's either them or me. I'll tell you what. Go out and buy an IV bottle and pour a chocolate malt into it.
No, I'll put in a chicken leg.
How about a hot dog?
A goldfish.
It's a brilliant idea. A goldfish. Hi.
We found something. An infection.
It's a mistake.
That's what I hoped.
It has to be a mistake.
I showed the slide to the top ophthalmologist in the institution. There's no mistake.
He was just tested. He was clean. This can't be. It's got to be a mistake. How long have I had it?
About a week.
A week? The insurance company held me up for 4 months. You mean if I'd been here a week ago? A week? A week? You're telling me? Nurse! Nurse! No! 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 Get away! Away! Away!
Hello?
Carrie, can I speak to Grandma?
Yeah, 1 minute. Grandma, I think it's Uncle Bob!
Bob,
Huh?
how is everything?
We're coming home.
What happened? What's going on? Bob, are you there? Bob, talk to me. What's going on? Bob? Bob!
It's my life. It's my body. Why can't we do it anyway?
If I destroy your immune system, the CMV will kill you.
At least let that choice be mine.
I can't. It's suicide. We can treat the symptoms of CMV. You won't have to be hospitalized. At least not immediately. You can still have a life.
Will I be able to go back to work?
Yes. You can be taught to medicate yourself through the catheter in your chest. The medicine needs to drip slowly into your system twice a day, about an hour and a half each time.
I'll be able to teach?
As long as you're physically able, you can do anything.
Tommy. So close. So very close. I can't look at him. I can't look at him because it should have been me. I knew that all along. But I kept telling myself, it's okay. It's okay. I can save him. I've got the spare parts. Well, I've got the spare parts and I can't use them.
It is not your fault. You did everything you could.
But I can't help him. I can't save him.
Bob.
All our lives. He was the careful one. He was so responsible. He was always there for me. Always. Even when we were little kids. When we were 7 years old. Do you remember there was a kid in the neighborhood who picked on me every day? And Dad said, you come home crying, you're going to get hit by me. Well, Tom stood up to that kid. He told him, leave my brother alone. You leave my brother alone. And he did. Tom was there for me. Why can't I be there for him? Why can't it be me? If anyone has to die, why can't it be me? Why does it have to be Tom? It should be me. It shouldn't be Tom. It should be me. When he gave his speech out in Bayport, he thanked everyone but me. And you know, I was glad. I was glad. Because it meant he took me for granted. It's assumed if he needs me, I'm there. And that's the way I want it. Because he's always been there for me. Always. It's not all bad. Just think of all the good that's come out of this. We sat together last night and cried. All 5 of us. We said we'd stay together, we'd help each other through this. There's so many people with this illness who have nobody. I'm blessed. I have a family that's behind me. I have my community, my school, and there's more to come. By next summer, I'll have my curriculum all finished. And after that, I plan to travel. I'd like to take you to Europe.
Oh, come on.
Would you go with me?
I'd go anywhere with you.
We are about to defy the laws of nature, transcend the limits of time and space. Because when you hit the enter keys on your computers, your bodies will remain here in the classroom, but you will be transported through the phone lines clear across town to the library. You'll be able to travel into any department you wish, art, literature, science, and commune with the greatest thinkers that have ever lived. Ready? On your marks. Get set. Go! You almost ready? No, I'm sorry. I got so involved. I only just started here. No, I'm not in any rush. I got plenty of papers to correct. I'll run out to the car and get them. Would you like the light on? No. Bob. would you come over here for a moment? I was just thinking. I was thinking about you. I was thinking about how much you've given me. I never said thank you. I failed. Not me, you didn't. You never failed me. Thank you. I love you. I love you too. I'll get my papers.